You drink it every morning. It keeps your eyes open when your brain's begging for sleep. Some call it motivation in the mug. Others, liquid survival. But what if I told you there is something strange brewing out there? A type of coffee so rare, so outrageously expensive, so disturbing in its origins, that most people would spit it out the second they learned how it's made. It's not sold on every corner, it doesn't come in paper cups with misspelled names, and no amount of oat milk can make this story easier to swallow. This is the kind of coffee whispered about in hushed tones among elite tasters and curious daredevils. It comes from far-off lands, through ancient traditions and modern controversies. And behind each steaming cup, a secret most people would never expect. So today, we're diving deep into the underbelly of your morning routine. Not the cute part with latte art, but the bizarre, filthy, and shockingly luxurious world hiding in plain sight. Coffee? Yes, but not like you've ever known it.
Alright, I will ask the question everyone's too scared to say it out loud. Would you drink a coffee that came out of some things but? No joke, stay with me, this gets way weirder than you think.
You are watching Bizarre Nutrition. Hit subscribe, smash that like, and tap the bell if you are ready to go where most people won't. Part 1. Where, how, and what is coffee? Long before coffee became a hashtag, it was a mystery. Legend has it, it all started with a goat. Not a barista, not a monk, a goat. Somewhere in the highlands of ancient Ethiopia, a shepherd named Kaldi noticed his goats behaving weird. Hopped up, prancing around like they'd discovered fire. The culprit? Bright red berries from a wild shrub. Out of curiosity, or maybe desperation, Kaldi tried them himself, and suddenly, the night didn't feel so long anymore. That plant? Coffea arabica. Word of its effects spread like wildfire, reaching the Arabian Peninsula, where Sufi mystics brewed it to stay awake during meditative rituals. By the 15th century, the first proper coffee houses, called Kaveh-Khaneh, were buzzing in cities like Mecca and Cairo. From there, coffee conquered Europe, fueled revolutions, sparked trade wars, and eventually became your Monday morning savior. But behind every humble cup lies a global empire, and more than a few secrets no one told you.
It's crazy to think the drink we rely on just to function came from goat droppings and sulfur rituals, right? But let's get real, that's just the beginning.
Part 2. The effects of coffee on our body. So, why do we even drink this stuff? Well, that little jolt you feel after a sip, that's no placebo. It's caffeine, a natural stimulant that hijacks your nervous system like a thief in the night. Here's how it works. Your brain produces a chemical called adenosine. It's basically your internal chill button. The more it builds up, the sleepier you feel. But caffeine, it slides into those same receptors like a smooth imposter, blocking adenosine and telling your brain, nope, we're staying awake. The consequence? Faster thoughts, sharper focus, energy that feels almost supernatural. Within 15 minutes, caffeine enters your bloodstream. In about 45, it peaks. And for some, it's like flipping on the lights after living in a cave. That's why we crave it. That's why we ritualize it. And that's why, for the next part of this journey, we need to understand one key thing. Coffee isn't just a drink. It's chemistry. It's an addiction. And for some people, it's an obsession worth getting their hands very, very dirty for.
So, coffee boosts focus, fights fatigue, and even tricks your brain into thinking you are not tired. Makes sense why we are all so hooked. But what happens next takes a very dark and disgusting turn for many people.
Part 3. Kopi Luwak coffee or Civet coffee. Somewhere in the damp, mist-draped highlands of Indonesia, a ritual begins under the cover of night. There is no polished chrome, No espresso machines hissing with steam, just moonlight, wet leaves, and a small animal with a very special digestive tract. Meet the Asian palm civet, a cat-like, tree-dwelling mammal with round alien eyes and a nose that knows exactly what it wants. Its mission? To feast on only the ripest, sweetest coffee cherries, handpicked not by humans, but by instinct. But this story doesn't end in the treetops, because the civet doesn't really want the beans. It wants the sugary pulp surrounding them. The rest, the seeds, the beans we brew, pass through its body, undergoing a strange and slow transformation deep inside its gut, a kind of intestinal alchemy. And the next morning, out they come, little clusters of semi-digested coffee beans, still intact, still usable, still weirdly valuable. Yes, the world's most expensive coffee starts in poop, but here's where things get even stranger.
Whoever first saw a civet droppings, picked them, cleaned them, roasted them, and drank what came out, that person had either a brilliant idea or a dangerous dare. And the world said, yep, we will pay thousands for that.
Kopi Luwak has been described as smooth, low in bitterness, earthy, and even hauntingly mellow. Notes of chocolate, wet leaves, and fermented fruit swirl around in the cup, the result of something no lab or factory can replicate: digestion. Inside the civet's digestive system, a microscopic drama unfolds. A unique blend of gut flora, including bacteria like Gluconobacter and Citrobacter, begins fermenting the beans. These microbes break down proteins, softening the bitterness that's usually part of coffee's profile, changing the bean's aroma and structure in ways that aren't fully understood even today. You're not just drinking coffee, you're drinking the aftermath of a biological fermentation chamber. In the very special cupping test, some studies showed a final score of 84.5, which classifies Kopi Luwak as a specialty coffee. And that comes with a price tag, up to $80 per cup, over $2,000 per kilogram of beans. But this indulgence hides a darker reality. As Kopi Luwak grew in popularity, wild civets started vanishing from forests and appearing in cages. In many commercial operations, these nocturnal creatures are force-fed coffee cherries in small wire enclosures, stripped of their natural foraging behavior and stressed into mass production. The result? A luxury drink with a side of animal cruelty.
So, let's get this straight. We are drinking something pooped out by a stressed out animal in a cage and calling it a delicacy?
Of course, not all Kopi Luwak is made this way. There are certified wild-sourced versions, harvested from droppings left behind by truly free-roaming civets. This coffee lives in a weird gray area between nature and exploitation, luxury and disgust, science and folklore. It forces us to ask, where does our appetite end and obsession begin? Would you drink it? And more importantly, would you admit it? Part 4. Jacu bird coffee, Brazil's feathered barista. In the Atlantic rainforest of Brazil, nestled in the state of Espírito Santo, there's a luxury coffee that doesn't come from a factory, a lab, or even a mammal. It comes from a bird. A very picky, very illegal bird. Meet the Jacu, a large wild turkey-like bird with glossy black feathers, crimson skin around the eyes, and an appetite for premium coffee cherries. Now, this bird wasn't trained. It wasn't domesticated. It wasn't bribed with treats. It just showed up.
So, imagine this. You run a high-end organic coffee plantation, everything's going great, till one day, a flock of birds starts raiding your crop. Not all of it, just the best cherries. The reddest, the ripest, the most expensive. What do? Most people would reach for a shotgun, but one Brazilian farmer had a better idea. Let them eat.
That farmer was Henrique Sloper, owner of Kamotim Estate, a biodynamic coffee farm. At first, the Jacu birds were a nuisance, a threat to production. But when Henrique noticed they were eating only the highest quality cherries, something clicked. Like the civet, the Jacu couldn't digest the beans, just the fruity pulp, so the beans came out whole in their droppings, slightly fermented, enzyme treated, and just waiting to be picked up, cleaned, and roasted. What followed? Jacu bird coffee, one of the rarest, most expensive coffees on earth. Prices can hit $1,000 per kilo, and that's if you can even find it. Production is limited since the birds are wild, protected by law, and can't be bred or farmed. They do what they want, when they want, and you're lucky if they poop in your direction. Unlike the civet process, which has been industrialized and in some cases corrupted, Jacu bird coffee is inherently non-commercial. You can't force the birds, you can't cage them, you can't trick them into eating bad cherries. What you get is dictated entirely by nature's quality control system delivered via avian excrement. Flavor-wise, it's described as cleaner than Kopi Luwak. Light-bodied, bright acidity, hints of nuts, herbs, and tropical fruit, with almost no bitterness, as if the bird has a personal vendetta against bad coffee. But here's the eerie part. Unlike the civet, the Jacu is a strict herbivore. Its gut doesn't have the same microbial diversity. So how does the fermentation happen? Some researchers suspect that the prolonged exposure to digestive acids, combined with the bird's slow intestinal tract, creates just enough breakdown of sugars and proteins to tweak the bean's chemical makeup. But no one really knows. There's almost no scientific research on this. It's a coffee made by accident, by instinct, and by bird. And yet, people are willing to pay obscene amounts just to taste it. It's the kind of coffee that makes you question what luxury really means. Not convenience, not automation, just wild animals, expensive poop, and a leap of faith.
First, it was a cat. Now, it's a bird. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bitter coffee out there. Actually, there might be. But think about it. Are we drinking hairy coffee, or are we just addicted to the store behind it?
Part 5. Black Ivory coffee, brewed in the belly of giants. Just when you thought coffee couldn't get weirder than cat and bird poop beans, it's time to go bigger, much bigger, because this coffee is brought to you by one of the largest land mammals alive, the elephant. Welcome to the world of Black Ivory coffee, a luxury brew that's not roasted in labs, not fermented in barrels, but digested in the gut of a multi-ton herbivore. Yes, this is coffee that's been eaten, fermented, and excreted by elephants. And it starts in the hills of northern Thailand. Elephants are fed a carefully crafted diet that includes ripe coffee cherries, bananas, and tamarind. The goal isn't just nutrition, it's flavor engineering. As the mixture travels through their massive digestive system, something strange and fascinating happens. The cherries undergo a slow fermentation process, lasting anywhere from 15 to 72 hours depending on the elephant's metabolism. Enzymes and acids break down the bitter proteins found in coffee beans, and eventually, the beans are expelled.
Imagine being the guy whose job is to follow a herd of elephants through the jungle, waiting for the moment they poop out partially digested coffee beans. Luxury has never smelled so earthy.
After collection, the beans are meticulously washed, sun-dried, and later roasted, just like conventional coffee. But the flavor? Critics describe it as smooth, low in bitterness, with notes of dark chocolate, cacao nibs, light peach, black tea, and a faint trace of tamarind, likely thanks to the fruits mixed into the elephant's diet. One coffee reviewer called it like sipping on something that passed through a jungle god's digestive tract and came out better for it. There's even biochemical evidence behind the flavor shift. Compounds like 3-methylbutanol and 2-methylbutanol are released during digestion, lending fruity, slightly roasted aromas that no artificial fermentation process has been able to replicate. But here's the catch. There is very little research on why this process works so well. Unlike Civet coffee, which has been studied for its gut microbiota, the elephant's role in flavor development is still somewhat of a mystery. Is it the sheer length of digestion, the plant-rich, herbivorous gut environment, or is it something about the enzymes in their stomachs that transforms bitterness into brilliance? We don't fully know. What we do know is that Black Ivory coffee is extremely rare. Only a few hundred kilograms are produced per year, and just 2 small bags of these beans can go for $150 or more. It's served as a VIP delicacy in luxury hotels and 5-star resorts, poured tableside like a fine wine, and always with a story. Part 6. Verdict: is it worth it?
So, after all the exotic diets, digestive tracts, and animal-assisted brewing, which one is the best? Well, that depends on who you ask.
Coffee critics are split. Some praise the smoothness, others say it's overhyped, overpriced, and underwhelming in flavor. But here's one thing everyone agrees on. These coffees are expensive not because they're objectively better, but because they're extraordinary, painstakingly prepared, and steeped in stories no barista could ever replicate. You're not just buying flavor, you're buying process, you're buying mystique, and in some cases, you're buying bragging rights. For the average drinker, you might not even taste the difference, especially if your usual order involves whipped cream and caramel drizzle. But if you ever get the chance to try a cup made by an elephant, a civet, or a jungle bird, at the very least, you'll have one hell of a story.
Let's be honest, most of us just want our coffee hot and caffeinated. But every now and then, something weird, wild, and kinda gross reminds us the world of food is way stranger than you think. Which one of these would you try? Or are they all just a load of overpriced crap?